This video will cover the reason I deleted my channel and all of my videos from YouTube. It will also cover the 77th Brigade. These topics are related, and they are also related to Gideon AI. I almost deleted my channel back when Charlie Kirk propaganda was fresh because Trump was talking about fining and suing people for disinformation online. And before that, we had, Gideon AI. And I took all of that as a warning, a shot across the bow. So I made the channel private, then I made it public again about a month later until YouTube brought in the AI tool under every single one of my videos called Ask AI. They call it a learning-focused AI tool to help understand the content of, quote, academic videos. It allows people to ask questions about the videos and the AI to respond. It also has a summary feature which very accurately summarized the information in my videos. So the AI analyzed what I was saying, deciphered it precisely, and then summarized it accurately and displayed it under my videos. That information is obviously also stored in data centers. The platform that I made the accusations on, YouTube, is a Google platform run by their intelligence agencies. Think CIA and British intelligence. I worked for a software company years ago that indexed audio files and stored the data phonetically, and that allowed certain phrases to be searched on. And that software was originally developed for the government, which means the government searches for key phrases. This is very scary since the entire theme of my channel is that the British Empire sits at the top of the Neo-Babylonian system. I repeatedly call the monarchs and their knights witches and vampires. I do not think I was inaccurate in my analysis. I was very serious, and the topic itself is also very serious. In no way were my videos meant to be any form of entertainment or gossip. The AI summaries used formal legal language. For example, some of the language would be, for example, in this video, the speaker claims and asserts that the British monarchy are witches and vampires. This was the kind of thing that was under my videos. I comprehend how that sounds, and I cannot imagine trying to defend that in Hammurabi's court. The British Empire is a beast system empire that sits over all the Commonwealth nations and the US and Israel. All they would need to come after me or anyone else is to hand that summary over to a prosecutor. Around 12 years ago, I went through several horrific legal battles within the court system to the tune of over $70,000. It was hell on earth, and trust me, there is no justice system. That experience is one of the reasons I decided to speak out and do my videos in the first place. When I explained why I was deleting this channel to a friend, they said they understood that concern and asked if I had heard of the 77th Brigade, and I had not, so I looked it up. The 77th Brigade is British Army Information Operations and Psychological Warfare. And what is British Army Information Operations? British Army Information Operations involves direct and indirect support operations for the U.S. military. So it's the British intelligence supporting the U.S. military. By definition, it is electronic warfare, internet operations, psychological operations, and military deception in combination with actions taken to affect adversary information while defending one's own information and information systems, such as a social media platform. But who is the adversary? Remember Aaron Cohen, who was paraded all over the news saying that he's going to roll out Gideon AI to scrape the internet for domestic terrorists a couple of months ago? Remember that? Gideon AI? The U.S. military can trace its use of British information operations back to World War II, when the Army activated the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops known as the Ghost Army in 1944. The secretive unit was responsible for executing large-scale military deceptions in Europe. They worked in close coordination with the United Nations and the Navy, the Royal Navy, and the U.S. Navy. In the mid-90s, it focused on a robust targeting system and defined 5 core capabilities called pillars. These pillars leverage operation security, military deception, psychological operations, electronic warfare, and physical destruction. A previous 77th Brigade served in both World Wars. The current 77th Brigade became operational in April of 2015, and this present-day brigade was named the 77th in tribute to the 77th Indian Infantry Brigade, an Indian Army guerrilla warfare force led by Ord Wingate, who used unorthodox tactics against the Japanese in World War II. Ord Wingate was Distinguished Service Order and Senior British Officer of the Army, known for his brutality. He was a proponent of the unconventional military operations and surprise tactics. He was a British, it says Christian, Zionist, a British Zionist. In Mandatory Palestine, he set up a joint British-Jewish counterinsurgency unit called the Special Night Squads, regarded as being a well-oiled killing machine who attacked Arab fortifications and sometimes imposed severe punishments on the villagers, including lining up all male villagers and shooting every 8th man. Sounds kind of like what's going on now. Mandatory Palestine was a British administrative territory that existed in between 1920 and 1948. So between the wars, the interwar period in the region of Palestine, and after 1922, under the terms of the League of Nations mandate for Palestine, the British took the territory, deeming it presently unfit for self-governance. And I would argue that this area never ceased being a British administrative territory. See my video titled Jerusalem. This is British Palestine in 1946. In World War II, Ord Wingate worked closely with the Druid Sir Winston Churchill to accomplish all this. Wingate was assigned as an intelligence officer in the British Mandate of Palestine, involved in the creation of a Jewish state in Palestine as being a religious duty in alliance with Jewish political leaders. Ord Wingate saw himself as a Gideon. He even commanded the Gideon Force, which was a Zionist army in Palestine, fighting to rule over the Arab population in the name of the British. Gideon Force was named after the biblical Israelite judge Gideon, who defeated the Midianites with only 300 men. But after that victory, Gideon created an ephod from the gold slain from the slain warriors, and that ephod was placed in Gideon's hometown and became an object of worship for all of Israel, leading them back into idolatry. An ephod was a sacred ornament worn by the high priest of ancient Israel, adorned with Urim and Thummim, used for divination, like what's on the Yale coat of arms, which I've covered before. Gideon's version led the Israelites into idolatry, becoming a snare and a symbol of their turning away from God. So think about that. Gideon AI is a software that would be used to scrape the internet for domestic terrorists, like people who speak out against British Zionists. Ord Wingate was born into a military family called the Wingate Barons and attended a Royal Military Academy. This says at the end of his tour, Wingate made an expedition into the Libyan desert to investigate the lost army of Cambyses, mentioned in the writings of Herodotus to search for the lost oasis of Zinzura, and he was supported on that expedition with equipment by the Royal Geographical Society. So Cambyses was the son and successor to Cyrus the Great in the Achaemenid Empire, ruling around 530 BC, and Zinzura was a legendary lost city said to hold treasure and a sleeping king guarded by black giants. And a sleeping king is a legendary military hero accompanied by a supernatural army who in legend will reawaken one day. They sleep in either caves on high mountains, remote islands, or supernatural worlds. Examples include Ogier the Dane here, King David, Frederick Barbarossa, a Holy Roman Empire, Genghis Khan, Constantine, Charlemagne of the Franks, King Arthur, and others. This is a statue of Ogier the Dane in Kronborg Castle in Denmark. He's said to sleep in the castle until Denmark needs him to reawaken. According to a legend, he is linked to King Arthur, and he was taken to Avalon by Morgan Le Fay. Morgan the Fairy, a demon. So they named this British military information operation, which supports the U.S. military, which involves internet psychological warfare, after the 77th Brigade, originating with Ord Wingate, the brutal British Zionist who considered himself a Gideon. Do you think they may have something to do with Gideon AI? This is why I deleted my YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.